Caregivers community. Today's topic is caregivers' mental health. So, I struggle with mental health issues, and I have well before my mother's diagnosis, but I think it's fair to say that all caregivers do really end up having to struggle with mental health, and it hits them hard, especially when their loved one or the patient they're caring for is dealing with a terminal illness. I think that it's easy to say that our depression and anxiety heighten, even if we don't have depression or anxiety, but in this world that we live in today, I think that it's pretty fair to say most people have depression and anxiety. So I know that as a caregiver, it is difficult to manage your anxiety and your depression, especially when you never know when things are going to happen at a drop of a hat, and you never really feel safe and secure with the person that you are caring for, with their diagnosis, and it gets really difficult sometimes because they're also struggling with their mental health because of their diagnosis. And it's not easy. It's not easy for anybody. And it's not easy for anybody, especially when the person that has the diagnosis is having depression and anxiety because of their diagnosis. Let me just give you an example of what happened to me in my caregiving journey with my mom with her cancer. We had a nurse practitioner at the time when she was going through her chemo process, and even after she finished her chemo process, the one with the arm and the liquid going through it, and we had these appointments, and she started losing her hair, and the nurse practitioner that we had at the time was telling us that my mother only had a couple of months to live, and that was very scary for me. Not only did my anxiety and my depression heighten when she started losing her hair, but then to also be told by somebody on her team that she was going to not be on this earth very long. And the thing is that they were also not factual things that she was telling us. She wasn't going by the facts. She was just telling us off whim, so that was even more of a depressing experience, because if somebody's going to lie to you about your results and tell you things that are not factual, that can end up giving you more of a heightened fact of anxiety and depression. And that's what was happening with me at the time, and that's what was also happening, understandably, with my mom at the time. This experience lasted for months, for a couple of years actually. Almost 2-3 years in, we have had this nurse practitioner. We luckily have managed to get a new one on her team that wasn't so scary, because every time we went into a doctor's appointment, it would be really anxious heightened and depression heightened. And it was a really scary time for those almost 3 years. And I was talking to my caregivers group, and they told me that that person should have not have been telling you information that wasn't facts, that they should have been the person should have been telling you the facts, not based on what she saw by looking at my mother. She should have been following the results rather than just making stuff up. And my caregivers group really helped me through my depression and anxiety, and also dealing with this nurse practitioner, because she wasn't telling us the real results, and she wasn't telling us facts. She was just making stuff up as she went along to scare us, and that was even more terrifying. And nobody should be allowed to do that to you, especially when you're dealing with a terminal illness or a very scary illness, such as dementia or cancer. Nobody should be telling you things that are not factual, especially when you're already dealing with so much anxiety, so much depression as it is going through something like this. And I know that caregivers feel hopeless and they can't feel like they don't feel like they can help. Most of the time, I know that I do as a family caregiver. I feel hopeless. I feel helpless. I can't feel like I can't do everything. I feel like there's always going to be some point in my life where something drops at I'm always waiting for the other shoe to drop, and that's a very terrifying place to be in, especially for your mental health, and especially with people already struggling with their mental health. That is not an easy thing, because terminal illnesses and also illnesses in general are very scary when you don't know what's going to happen next and you're living in the unknown every single day. It can mess with your head, it can mess with your mental health, it can even mess with your physical health, because we all know that mental health and physical health are aligned. And I know for me, when my mental health really got out of hand, when my mother was diagnosed, my cortisol levels spiked. I don't know for a fact if they did, but I started gaining weight in my belly really quickly, and I wasn't able to take it off. I'm still trying to work it off, and I don't think that's just age. I think that's kind of cortisol too, because of all the extreme stress that you're put under and the worry and everything that you're going through. I think that, and cortisol obviously doesn't help your depression or anxiety. It kind of makes it worse because it is a form of stress, and it does affect your body and your mind, and it isn't really helpful to say the least. And it does make you feel worse kind of about yourself when you are gaining weight and you don't really know why. And you also, as a caregiver, feel a lot of compassion and a lot of empathy. And when you do feel those things like empathy and compassion, you do take on the other person's emotions and physical symptoms sometimes, because you do care for them so much that you're going to take on that exhaustion and your own exhaustion, because you are just dealing with so much at the time, and it's nobody's fault. It's just the way that the diagnosis is, and it doesn't really help when you live in that unknown fear. It's not easy. It's also not easy to be graceful to yourself and be graceful with how many resources you do have, because as caregivers, we're basically kind of doing it on our own. There's no handbook really. There's a lot of advice that people can give, but there's not really a handbook that says, here's how you do perfect care. This is how you be a perfect caregiver, because there is no such thing. You're always going to be dealing with the unknowns. Week to week, you don't know what to expect. Day to day, you don't know what to expect. And that's just the way that life is. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with your mental health. I do suggest seeing somebody that you can either talk to, either a counselor, a therapist. Joining a caregivers group helps, for me anyways, in my mental health. Just people that you can talk to. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to diagnose anybody. But I do suggest, if you do feel like you are going to the extremes of what's wrong with me, why don't I feel happy? Why do I feel anxious all the time? I do suggest that you see somebody, because if your mental health is good, then you can prepare to take care of the loved one that you do have. because they're your priority. So if your mental health is bad, you can't really help them, and you feel kind of even more hopeless and even more helpless, and you get into a bigger depression and bigger anxiety, panic attacks and stuff like that, because you just feel so helpless. So I suggest just meeting up with some professional in some way, capacity that's right for you, and just get help, because you just never know when you're going to need somebody to lean on. And as for that, I just want to thank everybody for watching this video on mental health for caregivers, family caregivers to be exact. Please like, subscribe. Please like this channel. Please like this video, Please subscribe to the channel. If you do like these videos that I am making, I really appreciate it. Check out my links below to help support the channel, so I can keep making the videos that I do, so I can keep having the resources that I can to keep making more and more videos, so I can help people out. Comment below. All of these things help the algorithm, and the more you help the algorithm find my videos, the more people see it, and the more lives I can hopefully help, and maybe people can relate to this. So the more you watch, the more you like, the more you share, comment, and subscribe, it really helps out me and the algorithm with my channel, and helps me help other people, because that's all I really want to do with this channel, is help other people. And again, please check out the links in my bio, in the video, not in the bio, but you can check out my links in the bio as well. And check out my links in this video for just to help me out in any way that you can. And I really do appreciate all the support, and I would like to thank my new subscribers every day that are showing up on this channel. I really do appreciate it. I really do. I'm thankful for every single one of you, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much again.